A 28-year-old programmer sells a broken laser pointer online for $14. 3 years later, he's worth $7 billion. Two college students launch a website from their dorm. Stock rises 606% in one day. They're worth $100 million by market close. A Harvard sophomore pulls an all-nighter coding. 8 years later, he's the youngest self-made billionaire in history. Jeff Bezos, the man who quit Wall Street to sell books from a garage and built a trillion-dollar empire. Pierre Omidyar, the programmer who connected broken laser pointers to billions of dollars. Mark Zuckerberg, the dropout who built Facebook and changed how 3 billion people communicate. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, two Stanford students who organized the internet and made billions before turning 30. They didn't inherit wealth. They didn't win the lottery. They didn't spend decades climbing corporate ladders. They just logged on. This is the story of the internet gold rush, when a kid with a laptop could outcompete Fortune 500 companies, when one line of code was worth more than a Harvard MBA, when the entire world changed overnight. This is the story of how the internet created the first digital millionaires. The world before digital wealth. If you wanted to be rich, the path was crystal clear. Go to college, get a degree, land a job at a big corporation, work for 30 years, climb the ladder, retire with a pension. That was success. Or if you were ambitious and had capital, you'd start a traditional business, rent a storefront, hire employees, buy inventory, hope customers walk through your door. Becoming a millionaire took decades, capital, connections, and a lot of luck. But then, something changed. In the early 1990s, something called the internet was emerging. Technically, it had existed since the 1960s as a military project called AirPanet. But in 1991, a British scientist named Tim Berners-Lee did something revolutionary. He created the World Wide Web. Suddenly, computers could talk to each other, share information, connect people across continents in seconds. At first, it was just researchers and tech enthusiasts, clunky websites with gray backgrounds and blue hyperlinks. No images, no videos, no design, just text. Most people didn't understand it. Most people didn't care. But a few people saw something different. In 1993, there were only 130 websites in the entire world. By 1994, 3,000. By 1996, 100,000. And buried in that explosion of growth were opportunities humanity had never seen before. You didn't need a factory. You didn't need employees. You didn't need venture capital or permission from anyone. You just needed 3 things: an idea, a computer, and the courage to build. And some people were about to get very, very rich. The first wave mined IPO. September 1995, San Jose, California. Meet Pierre Omidyar, 28 years old, a software engineer working from his small apartment. He'd spent years working on various tech projects, but nothing had really taken off. One weekend, he had a simple idea. What if there was a website where people could auction items directly to each other? No middleman, no stores, just people trading. He called it Auction Web. He coded it himself, launched it on Labor Day weekend, 1995. The first item listed, a broken laser pointer. Pierre watched as someone actually bid on it, and then someone else. The final price? $14.83. Pierre was confused. He emailed the buyer. "You know this laser pointer is broken, right?" The buyer replied, "I'm a collector of broken laser pointers." That's the moment Pierre realized something profound. The internet wasn't just about information. It was about connection. It could connect anyone with anything. No matter how niche, no matter how strange. Within months, Auction Web was processing thousands of transactions. Pierre renamed it eBay. By 1998, just 3 years later, eBay went public. Pierre Omidyar's net worth? $7 billion. But Pierre wasn't alone. New York City, Jeff Bezos was a 30-year-old senior vice president at a Wall Street investment firm. Comfortable job, great salary, secure future. Then he read a statistic that changed everything. The internet was growing at 2,300% per year. He sat down and made a list of 20 products he could sell online. Books topped the list. Why? Millions of titles. Impossible for any physical store to stock them all. But his boss said no. His colleagues thought he was crazy. His parents worried he was throwing away his career. Jeff quit anyway. He and his wife drove across America in a used Chevy. He wrote his business plan in the passenger seat. His parents invested their life savings, $300,000. If he failed, they'd lose everything. He set up shop in his garage, called his company Amazon. After the world's largest river, his vision? Build the world's largest bookstore. People laughed. Who's going to buy books online? People want to browse, touch the pages, smell the books. By 1999, Amazon was doing over $1 billion in sales. Jeff Bezos' net worth? $10 billion. Two engineers, Sabir Bhatia and Jack Smith, had a problem. They wanted to start a company but couldn't risk sending business emails from their work computers. They needed free web-based email they could access anywhere. So they built it. They called it Hotmail. Every email sent had a footer. Get your free email at Hotmail. It was the world's first viral marketing campaign. Within 6 months, they had 1 million users. 18 months after launch, Microsoft came knocking. Sale price? $400 million. Do you see what's happening here? These weren't privileged elites. They weren't inheriting family fortunes or getting lucky. They were regular people who saw the internet as a blank canvas, an opportunity, a revolution. And across the world, thousands of others were discovering the same thing. The internet was the great equalizer. A teenager in Ohio could reach the same audience as IBM. A designer in India could sell to customers in London. A writer in Pakistan could publish to millions without a publishing deal. Geography didn't matter. Your resume didn't matter. Your last name didn't matter. Only one thing mattered. Could you create value? Could you solve a problem? If yes, you could make real money. Life-changing money. The gold rush, madness, and millions. By 1997, Wall Street woke up. The internet wasn't a curiosity anymore. It wasn't a hobby for nerds. It was the future. And fortunes were being made. Companies were going public at lightning speed. And if your company had .com in the name, your stock would explode. November 13th, 1998, a company called theglobe.com went public. The founders, 2 Cornell students, Stephan Paternotte and Todd Kriselman, both 24 years old. Opening price, $9 per share. By the end of day 1, the stock hit $97. A 606% increase in one day. Still the record for largest first-day IPO gain in history. Paternotte and Kriselman were suddenly worth $100 million each. They celebrated at a New York nightclub. Paternotte, wearing leather pants and sunglasses, famously told a CNN reporter, "Got the girl. Got the money. Now I'm ready to live a disgusting, frivolous life." The floodgates opened. Mark Cuban's Broadcast.com sold to Yahoo for $5.7 billion. GeoCities, a website hosting service, sold to Yahoo for $3.6 billion. Web designers were charging $50,000 to build basic 5-page websites. Domain names were selling for millions. Business.com went for $7.5 million. Venture capitalists were throwing money at anyone with a business plan and a .com domain. Pets.com, an online pet supply store with a cute sock puppet mascot. They spent $300 million on marketing, never made a profit. Webvan, online grocery delivery, raised $800 million, burned through it in 3 years. Cosmo.com, 1-hour delivery of anything, movies, snacks, whatever, free delivery, no minimum order. The problem? None of these companies had sustainable business models. They were burning cash faster than they were making it. The strategy was simple. Get big fast. Worry about profits later. Investors didn't care. Users didn't care. The money kept flowing. Until the Nasdaq peaked at 5,048 points. Then it collapsed. Over the next 2 years, $5 trillion evaporated from the market. Companies that were worth billions went bankrupt overnight. Tets.com, Liquidated after 9 months as a public company. Webvan? Bankrupt. Cosmo? Shut down. The Globe.com, that record-breaking IPO. The stock fell from $97 to 97 cents. Paternotte and Kriselman lost everything. The dot-com crash was brutal. Dreams destroyed, fortunes lost, careers ended. But here's what most people don't understand. The crash didn't kill the internet. It killed the hype. It killed the scams. It killed the companies built on nothing but marketing and hope. But the real digital millionaires, the ones who built actual value, they survived. Amazon survived. eBay survived. Google survived. And they kept building. The second wave Mayas real value. After the crash, something interesting happened. The noise disappeared. The get-rich-quick schemers left. The hype died down. And the internet finally became useful. Let's rewind slightly. 1998, before the crash. Two Stanford PhD students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, were working on a research project about how to organize the web's information. They created a search engine, but unlike others, it didn't try to be a portal stuffed with news, weather, and ads. It just helped you find what you were looking for. They called it Google, named after Google, the number 1 followed by 100 zeros. When the dot-com crash happened, people thought Google might die too. Instead, it thrived. Why? Because it solved a real problem. It created real value. August 2004, Google went public. Larry Page's net worth, $3.8 billion. Sergey Brin's net worth, $3.7 billion. They were 31 and 30 years old. February 2004, Harvard University. A 19-year-old sophomore named Mark Zuckerberg launches a website from his dorm room. He'd built it in one night after a bad breakup. A site where Harvard students could connect, share photos, and interact. He called it the Facebook. Within 24 hours, 1,200 Harvard students signed up. Within a week, half the undergraduate population was on it. Within a month, it spread to Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. By 2006, Facebook opened to everyone, not just students, anyone over 13 with an email address. By 2012, Facebook had 1 billion users. Mark Zuckerberg's net worth? Over $15 billion. He was 28 years old, the youngest self-made billionaire in history. 3 former PayPal employees, Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, had a simple idea. What if anyone could upload and share videos online? They called it YouTube. The first video ever uploaded? Me at the zoo, 18 seconds long, Jawed standing in front of elephants. Within a year, YouTube was getting 100 million views per day. October 2006, Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion. Notice the difference? These second-wave millionaires weren't chasing money. They weren't trying to get rich quick. They were solving problems, creating value, building tools people actually wanted to use. And it wasn't just the founders getting rich. Early employees at Google became millionaires through stock options. Employee number 20 at Google, worth over 100 million. Bloggers were making 6 figures from advertising and sponsorships. YouTubers were building entire careers from their bedrooms. Etsy sellers were turning hobbies into 6-figure businesses. The internet had matured. And the opportunities, they were bigger than ever. The democratization of wealth. Fast forward to today. The internet has created more millionaires than any technology in human history. Not just company founders, regular people. Content creators with millions of followers, e-commerce entrepreneurs, shipping products worldwide, software developers selling apps, digital marketers building agencies, course creators teaching skills online, the beauty influencer who turned Instagram into a cosmetics empire worth 50 million, the developer who built a productivity app in his spare time and sold it for 8 million, the writer who self-published novels on Amazon and now makes $500,000 a year, the course creator who teaches photography and makes 2 million annually. Today, there are over 5.3 billion internet users. The global e-commerce market, over $6 trillion. Digital advertising, $740 billion. Online education, $350 billion. Cryptocurrency, over $2 trillion in market value. The internet didn't just create millionaires. It democratized wealth creation. For the first time in human history, your bank account doesn't determine your ceiling. Your location doesn't limit your reach. Your background doesn't define your future. Your skills determine your value. Your ideas determine your impact. Your willingness to learn and build determines your success. The barriers have never been lower. The opportunities have never been bigger. The lessons. So what can we learn from the first digital millionaires? Lesson 1: timing matters, but not the way you think. The early internet pioneers weren't lucky. They were early believers. Pierre Omidyar didn't wait for the perfect time to launch eBay. He just launched. Jeff Bezos didn't wait until online shopping was proven. He bet on it when everyone said it was crazy. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Lesson 2: value beats hype. Every single time. The dot-com crash taught us a brutal lesson. Hype fades. Valuations correct. Trends come and go. But real value, it compounds. It survives. It thrives. The Globe.com went from 100 million to zero because it had no real value. Amazon survived because people actually needed it. Build something people genuinely need. Solve real problems. Create lasting value. Lesson 3: distribution is the new unfair advantage. In the old world, reaching customers was expensive. You needed storefronts, TV ads, distribution networks. The internet made distribution essentially free. A teenager in Lahore can reach the same audience as a corporation in New York. The only question is, do you have something worth sharing? Lesson 4: skills are the new currency. The first digital millionaires weren't born with advantages. Mark Zuckerberg learned to code. Larry Page learned computer science. Jeff Bezos learned e-commerce. In the digital age, your earning potential is directly tied to what you can do. Code, write, design, market, sell, create, teach. And here's the miracle. All of it can be learned, for free, online. Lesson 5: you don't need permission anymore. Jeff Bezos didn't ask permission to sell books online. Pierre Omidyar didn't need approval to create eBay. Mark Zuckerberg didn't wait for a job offer from a tech company. The internet is still the greatest opportunity machine ever created. The barriers to entry have never been lower. The potential reach has never been higher. The resources have never been more accessible. The question isn't whether opportunity exists. The question is, will you take it? The first digital millionaires weren't special. They weren't geniuses born with extraordinary gifts. They weren't privileged kids with trust funds. They were just people who saw a tool and decided to use it. Pierre Omidyar was a programmer working from home. Jeff Bezos was scared he was making the biggest mistake of his life. Mark Zuckerberg was a college kid with relationship problems. They had doubts. They had fears. They faced rejection. But they built anyway. The internet is still that tool. It's still creating millionaires. Every single day. People who code, who create, who teach, who build, who solve problems. People who see the internet not as entertainment, but as opportunity. So if you're watching this, wondering if it's too late, it's not. The internet is still young, still evolving, still creating opportunities that didn't exist yesterday. AI, blockchain, virtual reality, creator economy, digital products, online education. The only question that matters is, what will you build? Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, leave a comment below. What's the digital skill you're learning right now? What are you building? And remember something important. The internet doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care about your degree. It doesn't care about your age or your background. It only cares about one thing. What value can you create?